Hello guys, yeah, it is live. I'm gonna be with you in just a second. I'm just gonna get this out. But today I am gonna be remodding my teams, and I don't mind modding other characters afterwards. I think it's gonna be like between 10 and 15 characters I'm gonna be modding. I've got 2 attack teams, but the 2 attack teams have pretty much like 3 or 4 of the same characters, and I've got a defense team of 4 different characters. So I'll be over here just a second. It won't be too long. Okay guys, I'm going to be pretty general in today's stream. It's just going to be a hello to everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to be going through, like I said, my roster. I'm going to be modding some specific characters. I think it's going to be around about, it's probably going to be around like 10 or 12 characters that I've got that I'm going to be modding. It is the characters that I'm going to be using for war. It might be slightly more, I can't really remember. And then I might just mod some other characters afterwards if I have any requests at the end, okay? So, first up, I'm going to hit you up with the how to unmod your team really easily. You go to the question mark thing up the top here, on the mod screen, like on your town screen. Click the mod building on the far left-hand side. Click mod management. Click the not question mark, the sort of like, what's this? Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I'm Sherlock Holmes right now. And then you just basically hit the unequipped button down the bottom, and then it will show all your equipped mods, and then it will show I've unequipped quite a few of them, but it will show all your equipped mods. And then what you do is from the top screen, you can see there's 9 mods here, these top 9 here. The bottom right hand corner mods, you just click that, and you can see where the unequipped button lines up is on that mod, so you can just double click and then you can click confirm. Right now there's no like easy way of doing it except this, and this is how you can just quickly smash through your unequips of your entire roster. Once you get to the last 9 mods, that's where you're going to have to, you know, mess around because everything changes place. But if you've got like 150, 200 mods equipped, that's how an easy way to unequip your mods. If you want to just do a full roster remod, it's only worth it for a full roster remod. It doesn't work otherwise, pretty much. I'm not sure why this one's still here. Why is this one still here? Gone. It's gone. So all my mods are gone. All my mods are gone. So now I'm going to just go through the teams that I have selected. And it is these 3 teams here. These are the 3 teams I'm going to be using. And I'll go through each team one at a time. You can see the score of the team as well right now. And then you can see the score of the team at the end after I've remodded it. It'll go up by like 1,000 or 1,500 or something. So the first team is going to be a Negan attack team. So we're going to be modding the Negan. You can see the attack stats of everybody before mods as well. And it is always good to look at this. You can see characters that are either surrounded by 1535s, like Negan has more 1535s around him, so he's going to have more damage than, let's say, Michonne. Michonne also hasn't got a fully upgraded weapon yet, and she is also not top tier. She's 905, whereas versus like someone like Sandy, who's 980, that's a big difference in terms of stats. 10k, just 10k base. It can make a big difference with these 2 characters. So what we're going to do is we're just going to remod Negan first. And actually, I think on these sort of teams, you should decide who's the most important damage dealer on your attack teams. So for me, you can see that my most important one is Sandy because she's on both my teams. She is also my highest level character at 980. So I'm going to mod her first, just so I give her my best mods when it comes to offensive mods, okay? Then you've got to decide crit or attack set. With Sandy, you can do either. If you mod her for attack, she will do damage, more damage with her splash damage. She'll do more damage with her her crits for collateral damage, but she'll do less potential damage on her selected target because she's got she hasn't got as big critical multiplier. So when she crits, she's not going to hit as hard, and also you're less likely to build her for crit this way, which also would mean less collateral damage. It's kind of like a catch-22 situation. I personally want to do more targeted damage because I think splash and collateral is more like a nice bonus. Whereas on someone who hits so many times, Sandy hits 3 times on her signature move and 4 times on her rush. It is definitely a good idea to hit as hard as possible, as many times as possible. So you want to go for your best attack versus, or attack mod on crit set, in my opinion. And then we're going to go with attack versus. Now, I'm just going to apply this for a moment. If we back out, you can see my 2 attack teams. Sandy is going to always do damage versus strong characters. And then if I look at my other characters, I've got Tyreese, who does damage versus tough as default. And I've got Michonne, who does damage versus strong as default. I haven't got anyone who can do like default. Like I've got no tough characters here on my damage characters. So I need to have someone who does damage versus tough. Damage versus alert, where like what a tough character would do on both of these teams. It just makes sense that it's going to be Sandy because she is on both of these teams. So that's what we're going to mod Sandy for. And then basically we've got to fill the gaps on the other character. So for instance, Tyreese would need to do attack versus fast. And he already does attack versus tough. So then I've got like my damage dealers doing both the lots of different trait damage. And then you can also see the same with Michonne. She'd have to do attack versus tough so that she covers what Sandy is not going to cover. So we'll just go back into the team. I have fortunately got an extremely good attack versus alert on my crit set. I've got 58%, which makes it really nice, really nice. When it comes to Sandy's, I would also apply every time you put a mod in, because for whatever reason, if I put a mod here and then I go here and then I put another mod, and let's say I want to level up that mod, when I come back, everything's unequipped that I haven't applied. So that can be annoying. So just make sure you apply as you're going along. And when it comes to Sandy, I would definitely go with stun resist. You want to go for the highest percentage stun resist you've got. If you've got one in platinum, excellent. But generally, the highest percentage is the best way to go, just because you want less chance of being stunned. But platinum would give you the better multipliers and stuff like that all round. And then we'll go to the bottom left-hand corner. All-out damage on Sandy, I think, is the way to go. So we'll go for more crit multiplier. She's going to do extra crit damage on top of her already high crit damage. And then we can go to the center, and we want her to crit more often. I've showed this build on Sandy quite a few times. She is my best damage dealer, so I've just given her like the primo mods for me. And that's how I would mod Sandy. Just all-out damage. And like I said, she's going to be doing huge damage against strong characters as default because she is an alert character. And then she's going to be doing extra damage against alert characters here because I've modded her that way. When it comes to the weapon, that's the weapon I currently use on Sandy. You can use a splash damage weapon as well. I think slow attack is great because if you do hit the crit, and because I've built Sandy for crit, if you do hit a crit, you can slow a character. You've got a bit of control here, and I think right now Mythics are lacking, or Mythic attack teams are lacking a lot of control. So Sandy's quite nice for that. Any questions with Sandy, guys? Any questions? What's up, Cygnus? Welcome to the stream, man. Do we has any questions? I'll move on to the next character in a moment, otherwise. Daylight Nightshine, I had already modded Sandy. I basically removed these mods just to remod her, just to show you, basically. Like, if you're planning to upgrade mods, it's the best way to go. Like, for instance, if you're remodding your team and you get to here and then you put here and then you find a mod that isn't upgraded, you want to apply before you start upgrading that mod for sure. Otherwise, it will just unmod all the other mods, and it's just frustrating. I don't know why it happens. It came in with one of the recent updates, but it just like it refreshes this mod screen unless it's applied for whatever reason. So any questions on Sandy before we move on? Any like thoughts on other? I can give you my thoughts on other things if you have any other ideas. Otherwise, we will just move on. We're getting the max crit damage multiplier there, 70%. Like she'll hit really hard with crits. She'll hit really hard. Lots of damage. You know, what's up, Jack? We'll move on to another character then. So we'll back out, and you can see another character that's on both teams is going to be Wayland. But I don't think he's a priority But if you had someone who was a priority who was on both teams, and the same with Kelly, I don't think they're like priority modded characters, honestly. I'm going to mod them quite defensively, and I'm probably going to mod them after my defense team because I don't want them to have the best mods. But it is always worth noting characters that go over across both teams. It's just important. Okay, so we'll go with Tyreese next because I would say your actual damage dealers are the best, most important damage dealers. I'll just go Michonne actually. So I'll go Michonne next. Michonne pretty much you can build the same way as Sandy. So you can just put in some mods, and then again you wanna do damage against the trait that you're missing. So we've got Sandy does strong and alert. Michonne does fast, and she needs to do tough. Now, I don't have a good attack versus tough here. So what I could do is like versus tough here. You know, one of these ones, if I had a really high percentage, like that's quite high. So it might be worth having a 57% attack versus tough off trait and losing some stuff here. That seems reasonably worth it here. Here, I would kind of want to have stun resist again. So we'd have to find a nice big percentage, and I think 64 is probably the biggest I've got. And again, because Michonne's a multi-hit character and she's single target, she will do more damage if she's hitting crits than if she's just hitting pure damage. Pure damage buffs splash and rampage and stuff like that, but crit hits buff single target damage, but you have to crit. If you've got a lot of 1535 weapons, you're most likely going to crit. That's the only thing you've got to know. You've actually got to hit the crit to take advantage of crit multiplier. So that's why some people just go over attack set, because it's like always guaranteed that high damage, but it isn't the best you can get out of it, and I like to go for the best you can potentially get. Same situation here, crit multiplier. I have given Sandy my very, very best mods, so I'm going to be going with not as good mods here. Okay, so here's the situation, right? I've got a crit multiplier mod here that I can upgrade to see what it's going to be, but if I don't lock my mods, these other 3 mods will get removed. So I need to just apply this, and then I need to level it up. Now, it doesn't matter too much if I have to unequip this, because it only costs 1 now. It's not too bad. And it doesn't look like we're getting a very good percentage. Not a very good percentage at all, unfortunately. So we're going to have to unequip this. I think I had a 40. We should have stuck with the 40. 40 is not too bad for a gold. And then lastly, we need crit. And again, getting high crit is important. If I was to go with a crit mod that I already had on crit set, I might have some in the 40s here. It does look like it's just high 30s. 39.5. But if I was to go offset, I could potentially get one that's in the 50s. There we go. 53 on HP set. 59 on HP set. And you've got to decide how much of a difference, you know, it makes. If you have like 2 out of 5 of the crit multiplier set, you get 34 crit multiplier damage, and then if you have 4, you get 46%. So you did get a reasonable boost, but you've got just less chance of hitting that crit in the first place. So I'm going to actually go for actually hitting the crit first, and we're just going to slowly but surely upgrade Michonne's mods in the future. Like, as I pull better mods, she's going to get the boosts, basically, which is going to be nice. She's going to improve. We're going to see her improve over time. But I would definitely go with something like this in terms of her build. Quite similar, like I said, to Sandy, but you just want to make sure the attack versus is as many traits as you can, basically. So right now I've got all traits covered on my mods. Any questions from Michonne? I have started upgrading her weapon. I did go for just upgrading her base weapon because it's just pretty simple to do. 35% huge on attack. Make it 5-star. 1535, 45% attack is how I'd go. Rick versus Negan, which one is better? Negan's good for the focus. Rick's better for damage. Yeah, what's up, Curie? When I say damage, I mean like buffing other characters. As an individual character, Negan does more damage. So if you're lacking offensive power within your actual team, Negan's probably better. But if you don't need offensive power, but you want to boost the people who are already, you know, your damage dealers, then Rick's better. Ezekiel isn't a good defense. He is a good defense leader. He is a good defense leader. For sure. 100%. Any other questions on Michonne? Specifically Michonne, guys. We'll move on to other characters in a minute, so we'll get through the characters and you can ask questions about those guys. What time is what? Check the calendar, man. I'm pretty sure it's in like 5 hours or something. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. And this time we're going to go with Tyreese. Again, just get the big damage dealers out the way. And Tyreese is 100% a pure attack character. He doesn't need to crit. I mean, unless you want to build him very, very strange when it comes to his build, like really, really heavily utilizing his signature move. You can maybe do that for a defense team. I don't think it's worth doing any sort of thing to boost his crit. You want to boost his attack as much as possible. I did get a really nice mod recently. It's this 24.51. So his attack's going to be nice and boosted. And I have to do attack versus fast here because, like we said, like Sandy's doing strong and alert. Tyreese is doing tough, but he also has to do fast. So we're going to put fast in here. And then bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to go stun resist. Seems to be the way to go. Or you could probably go with taunt resist. Taunt and stunner are pretty much the big deal at the moment. Bottom left-hand corner, I would go with an amplifier when it comes to like potential damage. And there are two that are really good at the moment, and it would either be attack while slowed. So if he gets slowed by an impenetrable defense weapon, he can hit much harder. Or you can do attack while taunted. And this can work with Negan as a leader, where you can purposefully attack a Connor turn 1, try and get taunted, and then turn 2 he'll have his rush, and you will be able to rush because of the focus lead from Negan. So I'm going to go with attack while taunted for the moment, but attack while slowed is good. It's good, especially good for Conquest. If you don't have Conquest, if you're struggling with Conquest against like fast, impenetrable defense weapons, this mod absolutely obliterates Conquest stages. The attack while slowed mod. Attack while impaired is what I want though. And then the last mod, this is kind of up to you. So I'll apply this. This one's kind of up to you. You can go with like some stats to give him some boosts. You can go with another attack versus if you're struggling with damage, like another attack versus strong, or if you're noticing there's like if the meta is right now like heavy, tough defense teams, you might want to double down. I would say doubling down on his damage isn't a terrible idea because he is an AoE damage dealer. He isn't going to hit as hard as other characters, but he's going to hit everybody, so it isn't a terrible idea here. Or you could go for something like Burn, where he's going to... Like, Burn, it seems to be quite useful on him. I used to use Burn in the bottom left-hand corner on this character, and it used to be really effective. Really, really effective. But the amplifier damage on, like, attack while taunted, attack while slowed is really good, though. So, basically, this one's up to you. Personally, I'm going to go with... what are we going to go with? It's a hard one. I might go with attack versus tough. Just to make sure he's obliterating tough characters. Just because I haven't got him fully maxed out. He needs one more steel medals upgrade, and I'm probably not going to do that for a little while. And he is one of the weakest of the damage dealers just because he is an AoE damage dealer. It's just as simple as that. AoE damage dealers don't hit as hard. They just hit a lot of people. Nice and easy. Okay, so any questions on Tyreese? Any questions on Tyreese before I move on to one of the next characters? Zeke gives so much trouble. Yep, Zeke is great. Zeke is good. The fact that he's a fast character, he can hold on to a fast healing weapon, you know. Yeah, this is just a remod stream, Hando. I'm just remodding my war roster, and people ask me these questions all the time, so I thought I'd do it on stream, so at least I could refer people to a stream if they wanted to check it out. So any questions on Tyreese? Like other ways you might want to go. When it comes to skills, I didn't really talk about this on other characters, but when it comes to Tyreese skills, I haven't upgraded any of them. None of them are really that worth it. This is easy, just save your military supplies. Because nothing boosts his rush, and he's pretty much just the rush. Nothing else really that matters that much. He's pretty much just the rush. So you want to just make sure you fully max out the rush. That's the most important thing. Max out that rush, get that military supplies in on the tier 4, so it gets the extra 40% damage. Really important. Okay, so that's Tyreese's mods. We'll move on to the next character. And the next one we'll do is going to be Negan. So now we'll go back to the leaders of the teams. And I think Negan can do crit damage because he's got multi-hit on a lot of things. And again, he can do more damage. He does seem a little bit buggy at the moment. Hopefully they do manage to fix him. You don't necessarily need to do an attack mod on this guy. You can see without any mods, just with his weapon and leader skill in the 1535s, he's got pretty decent damage, 46k. You know, if we go back out, you can see he's got more damage than Michonne has. And, you know, that's pretty good. He's not anywhere near Sandy's right now. But, you know, Sandy is top, you know, maxed out 75 levels higher than he is. That's kind of the way it goes. But I'm going to go crit set. I am going to go with an attack mod. I might have one. I think I've got one decent attack mod in crit set. We saw a 12. I know I can do it on a different screen to see the actual percentages, but I like this screen better. It just looks nicer. And then here, like, we'll kind of get into this again where it's like, this you might want to remod as you find, like, let's say more alert characters being used, more strong characters being used. You probably just want to use one of your best mods, honestly, just so you're definitely destroying characters. Like right now, I'm seeing a lot of I guess I am seeing a lot of fast characters. So you just be basically amplifying his fast damage, like anti-fast damage, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There are some very tanky fast characters out there, so it's not terrible. Bottom right-hand corner, we probably want to go with stun resist again. Remember, he can't be taunted or confused for the first 2 turns. So these two aren't as important, but it's up to you. It's up to you when it comes to these two. If you want to try and keep within your plat mods, if you can. There we go. I just hit reset by accident. Fantastic. You do want to keep within your plat mods if you can, just so you've got the right multipliers. And but I'm going to go with stun resist. And I don't know. I don't think we've got a heavy one. Let's see what we get on the 5 upgrade here. I have got some bags to open, some mod supplies. No, 3.5. It's like, no, I was in there and he's like, nah, man. This is not for you, not today. 52.5. Okay, stun resist it is. Bottom left-hand corner. This is where you have to make choices where is he someone who's the main damage dealer on your team? For me, no. I've got 2 damage dealers. I don't need him to like really be that damage dealer. If you do want him to be a damage dealer, you could go with like crit multiplier in the right set, obviously, but crit multiplier and like crit, and then he's gonna be hitting really hard. Basically, you've geared him like I geared Michonne, and then or Sandy. He's gonna be hitting really hard. If I could actually find a crit mod, where is it? Why can't I find a crit mod? There we go. So like that on the right set. But I don't need him to do that. I actually kind of want him to be hitting some control. So we're going to do AP drain, and I'm going to increase that with some combat mods at the end. And then I also want him to just survive a little bit more, and HP is more important for attack teams, generally speaking, just because of like bleed and burn are countered by HP, whereas defense does nothing against those. And there's a lot more bleed burn on defense teams than like massive heavy hits. So we're going to be giving him a HP mod, and he's more of a support character now for me on an attack team. Simple as that. My Negan is 64k attack, yeah, but I have not geared my Negan for attack too much, and he's at like 50k. And he hasn't got that many 1535s around him, if I'm honest. I think I've only got one. I've only got one right now. Not even, I have actually got no 1535s around him. No 1535s. As you can see. So I'm not amplifying his damage very well with the 1535s, but I don't really need to. I only need to take care of one side of my team, which is Michonne and Sandy. And they're getting 1535 from Negan. And Michonne's going to get another one in a moment. So yeah, it won't be too bad. So yeah, mainly support character. But yeah, Negan infection is nice, but too low than alpha, and he can kill like 3 turns. I mean, at the moment, I don't think I see the infection as more of a bonus. It almost always gets healed. His rush is bugged, where if people have camouflage, it can mess up his rush because like it doesn't attack the person you target and stuff like this. It's really odd. Like it's straight up one of the most buggiest rushes in the game at the moment. Hopefully it gets fixed. He is a strong character though, and he is a pretty decent leader. But it's all down to that. It's all down to that focus, you know. It's all down to that focus, not so much the attack stat boost. What's up, Noah? Welcome to the stream, man. Go for HP, so his main is higher on his rush. I mean, HP also is just about him doing, just being able to survive better, having a bit more survivability. He does seem to get focused. I've noticed he does seem to get focused. But yeah, parts of his kit in terms of like how things work, it could work into that, but it isn't that reason I'm doing it. It's just support. It's just support. Straight support. So that's Negan. And we'll go across the other team. I know I'm doing this kind of strange, but we're going to do Rick now. He's kind of the opposite of Negan. He doesn't need crit set. He needs attack set. And he is a support character. It's kind of hard to make him like really heavy damage. But you can try. You can definitely try. And again, like I'd probably just double down on the damage that these characters are going to do, just because they're not all out, or especially Rick is not all out a damage dealer. And you can just sort of like get extra damage if you can with him as a leader. And again, stun resist seems to be pretty much everywhere. It's just basically you're just trying to counter alert weapons. Pretty much, it's one of the few ones where you can easily counter a weapon. And in here, this is where again, same sort of deal. You can go for like AP drain. You can go for like HP, just trying to keep him alive and stuff like that. But what we're going to do here is you can also go for like, in this situation, you can go for burn. And like, there are characters out there that have lots of bonus HP, but no heals. Like Connor, there are a few. Connor, Frost, I think, also has lots of bonus HP. He can heal if he attacks someone who has a minus attack status. You also have Tyreese on defense teams, has loads of bonus HP but no heals unless he has a fast healing weapon. But this seems to counter quite a few things, and so it's like it's good to have, I think, one damage over time mod that's decent on someone who does a reasonable amount of damage. If you've got characters that do it anyway, it's nice. Like Michonne is nice, or you could have it like, so it's comboed. So for instance, if you have a Michonne, you can have a bleed mod and then follow up on the character with Michonne, and she'll do extra damage because of that, right? Or like extra crit multiplier. But for the moment, I'm just going to keep it quite basic. I'm going to do it the same as I did Negan, where we're going to do just a bit more support. Just a bit more support than anything. That's what he's mainly there for. He is a support character. Keep him alive. If he does rush, target strong characters, he might do a bit more damage that way. Simple as that. Simple as that. And now we've got the same characters that are in both teams, but we're going to mod them last because I am going to give them defensive mods most likely. These two characters, again, survivability, and also like just for the fact that they don't need to do damage. I've noticed that if I do make Wayland too offensive, he gets obliterated and he gets focused heavy. So now we're going to move on to the defense team characters. What's up, Danny? Scabby should fit Negan Rush, yeah. I use splash damage weapon on him, and he has about 74k damage. That's nice. That's nice. What's up, Angel? What about healer like Aaron? I'm going to go over some other characters after I do my main characters. Rick is almost has Carol's attacking stats, which Carol is maxed. Bleeder Bowman. I mean, it's that part of it. There is kind of like an up to you situation. But yeah. When it comes to defense team characters, it comes down to your leader a lot of the time. So for instance, no leader, you can see their stat balance. And then when I put a leader in, you can see the defense is just jump. Like by quite a margin on some of these characters, like 7k, 8k, 9k on Frost, 9k boost on Frost. So he's going up to 41k defense. Do I need more defense on Frost? It would be nice. But you can see the obvious issue with a lot of these characters is the fact that they don't have HP. You know, except maybe Ezekiel himself, because he has got quite balanced stats between the two. But the rest need HP more than anything. I am actually in trouble when it comes to HP. I don't have too many HP mods on HP set. That is a problem. That is a problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to double mod Ezekiel for we're gonna do it for defense set because I've got quite a few HP on defense. Look at that, and I've got quite a few defense on defense. So my defense set is like kind of the default where I need to go, and HP is very specific for like basically governor at the moment. He gets a boost from this. You can see that thing there, value modified by one of the character's passive skills. So he gets a boost. So it's always good to give him good stat mods. 19.3. I'm not sure if these are the actual stats that are on there or if they're already being boosted. I'm not sure. I think it's the actual stats on there. Defense versus the trait you're going to get wrecked by is generally a good rule of thumb. Generally, just so you can, you know, but you can potentially do like, we'll talk about this in a minute, but like I would say the top right hand corner is generally the best way to go, is the one that you're going to get wrecked by. You know, fast is against strong, tough against fast, that sort of thing. Here, control is basically based on what is heavy on attack teams. Stun on attack is always everywhere. There isn't that much other control at the moment, so we're gonna go for a stun resist mod. Bottom left hand corner, I'm pretty much just putting this mod on every single person. The defense, while disarmed, disarm is pretty much the only control that I'm seeing at the moment. So if you get another 100% defense while you are disarmed, this is awesome. Really good, in my opinion. There aren't that many other controls that are out there at the moment, and if they don't disarm me, that means my impenetrable defense weapon is going to be there the whole time. If they do disarm that, I've got an extra 100% defense. So like, it seems to be just really frustrating, especially if you're making a tanky team, and my team's more of a tanky team than anything. Now the last mod is up to you. On majority of characters, you could double down, like I said. You could go for defense versus the meta. So for instance, like you could see if tough characters are the meta right now, there's lots of tough characters running around. You might want to go with 51% defense versus you know, the meta, basically. This is going to be giving you extra defense bonuses versus just doing a defense mod. If I did a defense mod, it would give me extra defense, but this is just a general like 17% boost or whatever, 18% boost versus everything, rather than 50% boost just versus tough. But because it's Zeke, he actually does get a bonus from having one of these mods, so I'm going to go with a defense mod, and again, he gets the value modified by this character's passive skills, bloody blah. So we're going to stick with this with Ezekiel. Any thoughts on Ezekiel? Any questions? The weapon I went with is this one. Again, stat based. He's a 55 AP character. He does not need AP on attack. I would, if you can, I would try and make a normal absolute defense. I'm going to be trying to make some normal absolute defense weapons, just because impenetrable defense is kind of not great now, just because of the slow part of it. A lot of people are choosing teams with it, with the slow, and then just wrecking it with like Tyreese. It's just an easy way to get through these teams, which kind of sucks, honestly. I think that is really bad, just because people have built some really powerful weapons on these, but that's the way it goes. Yo, what's up, piece of cake? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Demas. I think Gregory is pretty good. Okay, no questions about Zeke. All right. Next character, you can see Zeke's stats aren't too bad. It's getting 38k HP, 45k defense. It's not too bad, you know, it's all right. Now we come to Frost, and we're going to go for the same deal. Defense set, HP mods, and the difference between this guy and other characters is he's already nuts tanky, right? He's already really tanky. Like, look at his stats. Does it change yet? Look at his stats now. This is with just mod. I don't know if it's with the weapon as well. It is with the weapon. Like, he's got the same sort of tankiness as Zeke did, almost, like with just one mod. So you can decide whether you want to go with extra defense on top. You know, it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. Defense versus the trait, if you can, is always good, but we don't actually have defense versus fast on this. I might have to go down into the realms of the gold mods. 38%. 38%. Not great. Again, stun resist if we want. Do we want to have stun resist on this guy? Let's think. He kind of lasts a long time in the fight. What other controls are going to be a problem for him? I'm pretty sure just... It's basically these three controls are the main ones at the moment. So I can choose one of them. Stun. Confused taunt. Stun to confused taunt. This is like Sandy on attack teams. And then this is like some support characters on attack teams have taunt. And including Connor himself. But I think it's just pretty easy, just to get a basic about. Just gonna do stun resist, and then in the bottom left hand corner here, we can do again the same sort of deal. We're gonna do defense while disarmed. Again, I think this is pretty much the way to go on all your defense team characters. Until Scopely start giving out more control for attack teams, it's really hard to deal with defense teams that have got this mod. You know, it's just really, really hard. Because the weapon I've got on him is this weapon. So if you don't disarm him, he's going to be doing elusive impair all the time. And if you do disarm him, again, same sort of deal. Same sort of deal. He's just going to be hitting another 100% defense on this character. That's kind of nuts. That's kind of nuts. And then on the last mods, you can do whatever you want. You can go for extra defense. So if I go for extra defense, he goes up to nearly 50k defense here. You can go for another resist, which wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing because his resists are pretty nice. You can go for like confused resist to get another resist in. And then that's the one I'm going to just try out this time around. I'm just going to try out confused resist in here. I don't think there's too many ways you can go on this character. It's basically just tanky. You could potentially do a mod that amplifies damage though. You could do like that because he has this as a specialist skill. So he can get like a 60% attack boost quite quickly. People kind of ignore him in the first couple of turns. And that would make that mod obviously do more damage. So you could potentially do that. And that if someone doesn't have any heals on their attack team, that mod alone, even though it's not doing too much damage, could just literally melt through the an attack team. So that could be a good way to go as well. Any questions with Frost? Any questions? What do you think about Dexter? I think he's an alright damage dealer. He's alright. I think he counters some tanks quite nicely because of his builds. Extra damage against tanks is pretty good. Okay, we're back out. And you can see the stat differential is quite massive. I would probably do HP set on him if I had HP set, HP mods. I'm just really good with defense set at the moment. I'm not very good with HP set for whatever reason, you know. Whatever reason. But I would say out of all of the characters, Frost having balanced stats is the most important thing. Do you reckon replacing Frost with Kelly is nice? I wouldn't say it's nice. It's okay. If you don't have Frost, then having Kelly is okay. The thing about Kelly is he's only as good as your weakest link on your defense team. If you've got a weakly defended character like a Sandy or something who has only got like 25k defense, basically so has Kelly. You've got to build Kelly like so heavy HP because he's not really going to be able to reduce damage. He's mainly going to be taking damage. You know, he's mainly going to be taking damage. But yeah, Frost is just mainly just literally a meat shield. I didn't used to like him. But I have kind of I do like him now. I've maxed out a lot of his skills as well. I don't think you necessarily have to do the impair resistance, although it is nice. You can get what? How much can you get? 20% impair resistance. I mean, it's okay, but I don't think that's needed. The other ones are important, though. Taking reduced damage from adrenaline rushes, resisting crits is just frustrating. And then the strategic recovery, that's the way you get healed when you attack someone with attack down. And that's good. He works well with Ezekiel as a leader because of that. Because Ezekiel does attack down on all damage dealers at the beginning of every turn. So the combo there is pretty decent. You've convinced me. He is good, especially if you've got him tier 5. He can be very tanky. I have got him up a little bit. You can see I've used a bit of steel medals. He's at 575. So yeah. Okay, so now Gov is the reason I saved my HP stuff. He's a HP character for sure. And as you can see, I'm kind of screwed. Like this, out of all of the mods, I only have 1 HP on HP. I've got a lot of defense on HP. I've got a lot of HP on defense. I've got a lot of defense on HP, but I've only got 1. I've got a lot of defense on defense as well. But I've only got 1 HP on HP. And I need more. I need more because like I said, I probably would put HP on all of these defense team characters. Here is kind of weird. It doesn't you might want him to die quick. I don't know. But reducing the amount of damage he's going to take from tough characters seems kind of like obvious. But with him, he's going to be. You can just alternate this one based on what you think like the most heavily used damage type is going to be. Him being taken out is not the biggest deal. Honestly, it's not the biggest deal. And then because of that, he doesn't need defense. He does need control, like resist. So he's going to have this resist right now. And in the bottom left-hand corner, he's going to have the same thing. You could go with actually a number of different ways on this character. You could go with like reflect. You could go with graze. You could go with the defense while disarmed thing that I talked about. I think defense while disarmed is just in general a good way to go. Just because it's just annoying as hell. Just as simple as that. It's just annoying as hell. So we'll apply that. That's the 4 I want to do. This mod's I would not go with defense. You don't really need to care about too much on defense on him. You would want to go with another resist because if he gets into an outlast state, you do not want him to be controlled by something else. So for instance, you could go with like taunt, you could go with stun, whatever you want. But I personally I go with slow resist. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I find that the best way to actually take out Governor is with Sandy and slow. And even if he does his cleanse on his kit, I'm just going to apply this, but even if he does his cleanse on his kit, which is Unstoppable Outlast, that one there. When entering the Outlast state, 30% chance to recover all debuffs. Even if he does that, and he's been slowed already, he can't rush. He can't rush because it reduces the amount of AP you basically have at the time. So he needs to actually resist it first, then cleanse the rest. So there is just so many different control types. It's impossible to do it for every team, but slow is the only thing that counters everything. So that's why I put slow resist on my Gov. I've seen a lot of people do it as well. I think Man on the Moon does it as well now. So yeah, it's pretty annoying. It's pretty nice. I want to know how you mod him. Governor is because he is good when he die. Like, yeah, pretty much, DMS, pretty much. And like, that's why you can see how his stats are. Like, I haven't boosted his defense at all. He's only getting a defense boost from the leader skill. Now, I wouldn't put this weapon in his hands, but it's the only weapon I have really that I can put in his hands. I would go for a HP at the top, and then in the last slot, you either go for cleanse or you go for like 12% HP to a line of teammates. You don't go for any defense. I just kind of have to for right now. But in the future, I'm going to go for... Like, I've been trying to get a really heavy HP weapon for a little bit of time, but you know that old guy. You know how he is. He does need AP if you want him to attack quickly. And while he does get taken out quite quickly, I think making him actually kind of risky to ignore is also a good thing. He does need to take damage. This is the only downside of this character. Like, he takes damage from his own signature move, 20%. So that means his rush actually does damage. But when you've got fast healing weapons, it heals him back up. So his rush can do 0 damage. So if he gets completely ignored, sometimes it's not good for you. But he's always going to be that last guy alive situation, which is frustrating, I think, for a lot of people. And as long as you're taking out characters to him, the higher his HP, the better. Because his damage is based off his HP. As you see, those enemies get 15% of this character's attack. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Deal 60% of this character's missing HP in main damage. If he's got, right now he's got 40,000 HP. That does mean that he's going to deal, what's that, 20? Is that 24,000? Is that 24? Yeah, that's 24,000 damage. Not many attack team characters are gonna be able to survive a 24k main hit. Not many at all. So that, you want to basically try and calculate how much he would do with that 60% and make sure it's like reasonable. I'd say you want to try and make it at least 20. I'd say at least 20k right now. In the future, like in 6 months, it might be higher because of lieutenants does pump up the HP. And if you remember the HP that I had on Negan and stuff, Negan and like they're at 24k. So, like, that's another reason why HP is quite good, because he can survive some main damage that way. Okay, last defense team character out of, like, the main characters I've got. I don't have, like, good weaponry on this guy. Again, I'd probably go for HP set, HP mods. The difference between a gold and a silver mod is actually kind of, like, nuts. I have got a maxed out mod, but, like, it's 8%. I actually don't know if I've got, like, I could have, like, a HP on attack, like, 20%. So you could go with one that, I think he basically needs more HP a lot of the time because he's going to reflect. He's a lot of basis based on reflect. Defense versus alert as well, quite important, just because he is a strong character. I've got quite a nice one here in gold. Resists. Again, it's kind of up to you where you want to go. If you want to stick in your plats, you've got to kind of go with what you've got. But otherwise, I kind of like stun resist on a lot of my characters just because all of that nasty stun on attack teams. But on left hand corner, we're going to go with the same deal before. I think this is pretty much default for me at the moment. I do need to upgrade it though, as you can see. What's this one? 10. It's actually a nice roll. But yeah. Defense while disarmed. I need to open some bags to upgrade this. Now, the last one, you can do another defense versus. You can do more stats. So if we could, for instance, could do defense. It's completely up to you how you want to build Mercer. I would say for his stat balance, you kind of want him to have around about like 60 to 65% of his stats in HP, and then like 35 to 40% in defense. So he is taking quite a reasonable damage, but he has a massive health pool to stay alive. The only downside of him is he doesn't have any self-sustain, so... Mercer's hard to understand. He is very... Like, Mercer and Governor are very, very weapon-based, for sure. That's the biggest issue I find with these two characters. So if I lock that in, he's a little bit behind on the other characters on stats. You can see he just looks a little bit less. And that's because his level. Like the other ones are like 980, 955, and he's 905. So, yeah. At the moment, I use this weapon on him. I would probably want to use a weapon like this on him for the first two stats, and then in the third stat, for the first two stats, it'll be like defense HP. Probably only 30% defense, and then just the rest HP. So like a lot more like I can't show you. A lot more like this character's default weapon that I had on him. It's a shame. Well, it's not really a shame because it's not really a defensive weapon. But like this weapon, where it would have high in one stat and low in the other, and that's what I do on Mercer, where it would have like 50% HP, 30% defense, and then probably AP down in the third slot, and then in the last slot it'll be 12% HP to align the characters. And then those two characters could be in a line. These two characters, because they both need HP, and they could both have the HP to align their teammates, and they boost each other's HP massively. They give each other 12% HP, and that'll multiply with each other. So, yeah. I got heal on the 4th slot of his weapon for some self-sustain. Is the heal random healing, or is it like heal based on like chance to take damage and stuff like that? I mean, it's not a bad idea. If it's guaranteed, that's fine. I personally don't like non-guarantees. I like things that are kind of guarantees. I'm going to be talking about other characters in a minute, guys. I'm going to be talking about other characters in a minute. So the last character for my defense team, I have only just got them to tier 5, is Gregory. Big issue with my Gregory is I don't really have the items for him. I basically give him this weapon right here. I wouldn't give him a weapon for his stats. Sorry, for his rush. I wouldn't care about his rush so much, and I just give him this weapon here, like defense, HP, absolute defense, fast healing, and just make him survive as much as possible. But I've only got one that is like this at the moment, so I'm gonna have to give him this, and then we're gonna give him a bit more of a boosted, like a balanced stat boost. He needs his stats because you can see his stats are way low because he's only level 885. And that's because I haven't even done any sort of steel metal upgrades on him. I've got enough to get him up quite a bit. And also he is a little bit lower on these things down here. Same with Mercer, he needs a bit more skill boosts, to be honest. So we're gonna go with defense set because I have got the double here. And we'll just get a nice one, 19.2. Defense versus strong if you do have one. You might want to go off trait just because. And then bottom left hand corner we'll go stun resist as well. 63%. Nice. And then the same sort of deal here. You can go with the booster defense while disarmed. And for him right now, definitely his stats, because you can see his stats are quite low. So this will get him over 30k each, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay, 21. So now he's got over 30k stats on each. He's definitely the weakest character in my defense team though, but he is also the most unleveled one, so it kind of does make sense. And he has the worst mods, because if you mod someone last, they generally got more chance to have the worst mods. It's kind of simple as that. So you definitely want to mod the characters that are going to be more important for your defense team first. 5% for every 20 AP. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. He does only have a 50, or is it for every 20% AP? He does only have a 55. If it's 20%, that's not too bad actually. Especially considering he can get into the taunted loop. But that plays into his high HP, you know, still boost his HP to as high as possible. I just need more HP on HP mods. I desperately need more HP on HP mods. Would you have 30-50 defense HP split or 35-45 defense HP split on Mercer, weapon on Mercer? I mean, it's kind of messed up because it actually depends on your leader and you can't really change your weapon. So, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with a 35-45 in terms of the split. That's fine, and that's also going to be more usable on like more characters down the line. But for me, for Ezekiel lead, because Ezekiel gives defense, I'm just going to give it as much HP as possible. He does need defense. I mean, he does need a defense boost, but it doesn't need to be that high. I would also upgrade the HP. Now, this is going to sound really odd, so you got to kind of just take it in. I would also upgrade the HP when it's a 5-star weapon and not when it's a 4-star weapon, because when you upgrade a weapon's stats, right, when it's a 4-star weapon, it is additive. When it is a 5-star weapon, it changes the 4-star into a flat rate. So let's say you had a 30% HP weapon and then you upgraded it to 40% as a 4-star. It would be 30% plus 5% plus 5%. So it actually gives like a little bit more than 40%. But then the second you turn it into a 5-star weapon, it then just makes it a flat 40%, which is a little bit less. So do the HP ones on the 5-star weapon and then you'll get that bonus there instead. So it'll be like, you just do the flat rate, 30% HP, 30% defense on the 5-star, on the 4-star. You're kind of out of luck actually. You only have, I guess you have to do one. Yeah, you kind of have to do one. Or two even. I mean, it depends on what kind of weapon you're building. There is a weapon that already has AP down on it that you could do. Which is like, I think it's the axe. Let me just check. I think it's Aaron's weapon. This one. And it isn't great, but it already has some stats on it. So you could go with like 30% defense here, 40% HP, and then like either do the healing one that was talked about in the chat in terms of like healing based on the AP they've got, or 12% HP to a line of teammates, and then boost HP again to 40, like 50%. I used that. Yep, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. This seems like a good way to go, in my opinion. Okay, so that's all the characters I'm modding. Oh no, wait, no, it's not. I've got the 2 attack team characters. My bad. I've got the 2 attack team characters. Now these ones are just going to take up whatever's left of my defensive mods, but we do need to boost the HP of this character more. So we're going to give him a HP set. He's basically just a meat shield. He does not need defense as much, but you know, I guess it is nice, but he does not need it as much. We'll give him defense versus alert just because. What else should we do? You know what? We're going to give him the crap days resist I had. There isn't. Oh no! Wait. There was actually a main resist is the way to go on this guy. That's right. Main resist, because he will get focused by the main no matter what. So we just need to get him some decent main resist, which is not this mod apparently. And then we just have to do this again because I didn't listen to my own advice at the beginning of the stream. 13.5 defense versus alert. Lock those. So yeah, main resist is good because governors on defense teams, if they hit someone else, he'll absorb the damage. So he can resist governor, which so definitely put a main resist mod on this guy. I've actually got one on the top right hand corner. There we go. So I think I already had that ready for him. Then I think you can do things like graze to reduce his incoming damage, or you could go with like AP drain to try and improve like a little bit of control potential. That could be a good way to go. And then again, I would say you maybe want to give him a bit of a boost to defense, but it's not as important. But do him last. Make sure you got all your defense team characters boosted, and just give Kelly on an attack team the biggest boost possible. And you can see he has pretty decent stats now. He's got like 30k HP. It's pretty nice. Or you could go off trait. Don't forget, there's always the off trait potential. So like for instance, I could go with the 19% one, and he'll go up to 37.5% HP, or 37.5k HP based on the extra boost. You just gotta make out. You gotta work out if it's worth it or not. Gotta work out if it's worth it. And for this guy, it's kind of like rainbow mods. You can just do a bit of whatever. I think he hits hard even if he's quite defensively built. You can maybe go with like your best crit mods, basically. Just find your best crit mods. Like 53. There we go. And then we can do like an attack on HP set. He's probably going to get the best one. You can either do a defense versus or an attack versus. Now I've got 3 characters with attack versus on my attack team, so I don't really need this. So defense versus alert would be good, just so he has less chance of being obliterated. He's the guy who you've got to basically keep alive. He can't be controlled by a lot of things, although we have got characters coming in with passives and stuff now. So like, if you want to like counter things like Razzo, stun resist here would be kind of important. Bottom left hand corner, I go with AP drain just because of limited control on attack teams right now. So we'll get, what is there, 37? 37. So he's got a bit more survivability. He still does nearly 50k damage. The weapon I think I'm using on him is just the normal weapon here, with the trauma weapon. But I would go with a 1535 in his hands just to make him crit more often. That would be good. What if I use Glenn instead of Ezekiel lead on defense? I put main resist on Kelly. Yeah, main resist, yeah. If you use Glenn, you just want to balance the stats as much as possible. Like using Glenn in how I modded this team is probably better. I do not, like I said, do not have very many HP on HP mods at the moment. I'm pretty in a bad position. Pretty bad position. So yeah, that's those 3 teams. And what I can do is I can just put some characters here. Like, what characters did people talk about mods for? Aaron. Let me see. Aaron. I'll do a few characters extra. Where's the Aaron? There he is. Let's put him over here. Who else did people talk about? Gabriel. Someone said Carl. I guess I'll do the new Bruce. I won't do Ivanova, but basically if you go back to where my mods were for Sandy and Michonne, just mod her exactly the same as those guys. Sophia can be built like Mercer, so how I was doing Mercer stuff should be fine on Sophia. Do you think Glenn at tier 4 or Magna at tier 4? I think Magna is the better leader for a defense team, personally. But Glenn is the better character to have your own, like, resources invested in. Like, Magna needs to have her passives boosted, in my opinion. She needs to have her passives boosted. She has a nice defense buff. If you kind of ignore her, she has got a nice defense buff in there. Which one is it? It's this one, in good health. It goes up to 30%, I think. When this character starts their turn, if this character has no negative statuses, this character and all adjacent allies get 20% defense for one turn. But I've seen this stack. I mean, I don't know. But you get a defense bonus. If she's your only alert character, that's going to be better than having an alert buffs weapon. If you've got 3 alert characters, that's the only time it's going to be not as good, basically. So if she's your only alert character in the defense team, that's great. Aaron can be annoying because of the double stats. I mean, I'm not sure about Aaron, honestly. I've not really looked into these characters in great detail, but I don't think Aaron is like the best defense team character, just because of how you have to build him quite offensively to get the best out of him, like in terms of his heals. So like if you were to build him, you might want to do like some weird build like that, you know? Get a bit of attack, a bit of defense, like boost him all round, and then maybe like double down on the attack that he would do. So for instance, attack versus fast. This is even on a defense team. He's going to take more damage, or you could potentially just do the normal like this. And then when it comes to resists and effectively the bottom left hand corner, you can protect his weapon, like I was doing, like with the disarm resist. If he gets disarmed, blah blah blah. You could go like, because he's going to get focused by Sandy's, you could go with reflect on a strong character. That's not a terrible idea. Or you could go with, like I said, the disarm defense boost to protect the weapon. Otherwise, it's not much. Like, if you are going to boost this, if you're going to go more offensive, I would say attack is the way to go offensively. Just attack set. And then you don't have to make him have that. You can go with quite weird mods as well. Like, I say burn. Maybe even bleed. Why is it not letting me do bleed? That's weird that it's not letting me do bleed. Currently equipped. Alright, because it actually just disappears. Just disappears, I guess. Yeah. No, where's the burn now? Okay. So like you could go with something like that. And then do like attack versus what he actually does damage versus. So you're going to be annihilating fast characters. And then the resist is like kind of what you just assume is going to be on a defense team, which is a lot of the time going to be stun. So like that's going to amplify his damage, but also his heals, because it's based on his damage, right? Heal 4 teammates for 25% of the damage dealt, and that obviously gets boosted when he gets maxed. Heal 4 teammates for 25% of the damage dealt, and he revives someone. Heal all teammates for 25% of the damage dealt. So like, just boosting the damage. It's gonna boost the Heelys, and he gets the weapon boost, right? Is it the weapon boost or the mod boost? I think he gets the weapon boost. Let me just read it. Base stat boosts from weapons are 50% more effective on this character. I don't know why it's not showing it on this. It's getting it. I mean, maybe it's just because it's. I'm not sure. But basically his attack will go up because he's got attack. So some mods, sort of kind of just crazy mods on an attack team, in my opinion. You don't have to go for both of these. You can go for AP drain as well if you want some extra control. Healing's done. Bloody bloody blah. What's up, Linsky? Yeah, this is just a remod stream. So Gabriel, I think he would be more balanced, right? I haven't fully looked into the character. He doesn't need anything. Okay, he doesn't need anything when it comes to how his stats are. Nothing he does is anything to do with stats, so that's cool. So I would just try and make his stats as balanced as possible on the outcome. So if you've got a defense leader, HP mods, you've got defense, HP leader, defense mods, and then you can either go with doubling down, so like double stats or not. At the moment, I think double stats are very effective, but I think in the future it's going to be less effective, and it's going to be more like resists are going to be more effective, because there's just not many things on attack teams right now that defense teams have to deal with. So stats just is the thing. You might want to go for reflect, because there are some like this counters princess to a certain extent, or again protect his weapon. He can just put a healing, not a healing, focus stun weapon in his hands, nice and easy. So you know, so build him maybe something like this. Just look at his stats at the end. If one of the stats just looks crazy too high, either remod him the other way around, for instance HP set and then HP on HP defense on HP, or switch up his weapon a bit. I don't know. I would say Thomas Richards is just heavy HP, right? You can probably build him like Governor. A lot of his kit's to do with HP. Okay, we're going to remove these mods. This dude, I don't think any of his stuff is stat based, but we can check it. He is. I'm going to be honest. I think he's quite a strange character for a defense team. The only time I've found Carl any like difficult at all was on Conquest, when there was two of them. When there was two of them, it was mad hard, because he has a passive and a rush that gives elusive, and he was getting it really quickly. He does not need an AP on attack weapon, so you can just give him stats. So you could just give him like a weapon like this, and that'd be fine. And he's gonna get boosted stats, and then again, just you want to make his HP and defense around the same. I don't think he needs any sort of imbalance. You want to make him quite balanced when it comes to his stats. I don't think he needs anything special within his kit either. He gets boosted from his own passives. Like he gets attack boost from his own passives. When attacking while having elusive, he gets extra attack. Takes less damage from people with damage roll. So yeah, I mean, when attacking will be, yeah. Yep. So he doesn't need anything in particular on his stats. You just want to make sure it's like quite balanced at the end. And just 100% no AP on attack. 55 AR is not needed. It's got quite a slow rush though, that's the only problem. Slow signature move. Well, okay, that might not be maxed. One sec. Yeah, he's fine. It's actual fast signature move. It only worked the first time around. But yeah, at least he won't give away AP. It's kind of hard. It's a hard situation with this character. I mean, what you could do is you could potentially be sneaky with him, because he's going to do that first turn, like when it's fully upgraded at tier 5. You could make him quite offensive, right? You could make him quite offensive, and then people just won't be attacking him because he's got elusive. They won't be gaining AP. So you could be sneaky and do like you could go like attack set and then just boost his HP. So he's got like 20k HP. So at least he has to have dark red HP, otherwise it'll be really obvious. You might want to give him defense versus And then at least like he's getting an extra boost to his attack. You can see his attack going up. He's getting a boost from the set bonus, and then he's getting a boost from the mod in the top left-hand corner. And then you could again be just extra sneaky with certain parts of his kit. It's up to you. The second people realize though, they will focus him turn 1. So again, you might want to have something to like protect him. He would need a very, very interesting weapon. Like it would need attack. You could have attack on it, HP. Actually, I think I've got a good weapon for him. Like this. Attack, HP, absolute defense, and in the last slot it could have like fast healing. In the last slot, that would be a really good weapon for Carl. And then you could boost the attack up to like 40%. Just to be like really strange, because no one's going to focus him after he does his first turn. And he could just go around wrecking you. And then you could just rely on things like his evasion to reduce incoming damage. I think that's the only way you can really make Carl like really decent. It's like some crazy build. To be honest. Crazy build. Okay, Bruce. I'd say just kind of want to build him how I built Wayland. You know, you can go with like kind of mix like that, you know, or like that. So he's got balanced stat boosts. He's more of a support character. This would be fine. Yeah, what's up, Moon? I went live about an hour ago. But yeah, Thomas Richards, I would build exactly like I built Gov when it comes to maybe not the resists, but double resist. He actually can. Thomas Richards can have defense. He can have defense. He just has to have HP boosts because his kit's all HP based, right? Like he does damage based of his HP and stuff like that. Let's have a look. %, of this character's max HP to 4 enemies. I know that it's attack in main on his signature move. That's a shame. But yeah, I'd say still heavy HP. And then just calculate. This is good because it's not like his missing damage or anything. So if you can get him up to like, if he could get him up to 100k HP somehow, crazy, you'd be doing 20,000 damage on his rush in main damage. He's got 48 AP as well, so he definitely does not need AP on attack on his weapon. Go for full stats. He's going to be fine. Fine for sure. How would you build Mirabelle? Yeah, I think Mirabelle reminds me of, what's her name? Holly. I'll put Sadiq in instead, just because they're Guardian Shields. Mirabelle reminds me of Holly. Well, you had to. I think Holly was more based on her weapon. Like you had to decide: are you going to try and keep her alive or actually hit crits? So you kind of got to decide that with Mirabelle as well. Are you actually going to try and do Guardian Shields, or are you going to be utilizing her for the fact that she can hit Guardian Shields if she's like just takes damage, right? But I would try and just have her with balanced stats. It's going to be a little bit easier. So, for instance, if you've got let's say if you've got a HP leader, you could just double down on defense and then give her a crit mod as well. You know, so you're going to get all your defense from your mods. You're going to get all your HP from your leader. The downside is she does need AP on attack, right? I'm pretty sure she needs AP on attack. Let me just check. Because she has 66, and that's the thing with her. You've got to decide: do you want her to rush, or do you want her to be doing, you know, be staying alive longer? And at the moment, I'd probably say staying alive longer is going to be more frustrating on a Mirabelle than rushing. Her rush is nice, but her being like able to stay alive is much more dangerous. So like you could build a very specific weapon for her, or you could build like the Raven's weapon. You could just give that to her. Obviously swing it in the way the stat that you need it to go. This is the weapon I built for Frost, and this would work for her too. So I kind of would like go back to my Frost build and then just say like build her that way. But she needs to have the stat balance in some way. So you could give her HP and defense and a huge bonus to AP when attacking, and elusive impair. The downside is you're just not going to get any crit. So you're going to be fully relying on that mod. I can't remember if she gets any boosts within her kit on crit. Kit on crit. Kit on crit. Kit on crit. No. She doesn't get any like aim or anything like that. Always expected always expect the young what? I don't actually know how old he is. Just that he is a baby compared to me. Take the year we are the one you have my age. You're 2022 years old. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Okay, any other characters, guys? I think majority of characters can get covered by the stuff I've already done. There are some characters that need like unique builds. It's kind of weird, like Governor and Mercer are kind of the two unique ones, and I need to build weapons for both of them. I mean, kind of in trouble with those characters. Need to build very specific weapons for both, unfortunately. Alpha for defense. It's a nice one. Yeah, Alpha for defense. I did have a modded at one point. Let me see what she gets. Extra attack when attacking targets with infection crit. So I prefer, like, see, that's what I was talking about. Like, I prefer guarantees. If it was aim over this, aim just gives 20 crit. I would much prefer aim, like where she's just got 20 crit all the time. But you know, it is what it is. I would probably build her the same way I was talking about with like Mirabelle and like the cheeky Carl build. But you might not want to give her any attack, honestly. And then rely on like a 1535 on her weapon, or a cheeky percentage attack on the weapon instead, or you could go with like a guaranteed crit. So like you could get all of her damage, like let's say we just built her full tank, right? Just for visuals, so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. Imagine these are all like the pristine plat mods, and then you could build her with like an attack on her weapon, another stat on her weapon. Let's just apply this. I can unequip it. If we max her, we can ignore the fact that she can rush. Don't worry about her rush and just utilize her signature move. And then when we come into mods, we'll build attack on her weapon, and then we build the other stat we need. So for instance, it looks like HP at the moment, so we have HP, attack, absolute defense, and then like in the 4 slot we could have crit expert, and then you could have like the only offensive boost you're going to give her in here is this. So her crits are just going to do a little bit more damage, and because they're guaranteed, and because you're probably never going to upgrade these on most characters, because defense set you're going to have maybe a few, she's going to have the potential best one, you know. Like this one I could upgrade and it could get another 10% on the next 2 upgrades, so it could be up to like 40%, and that way her crits are guaranteed to punch really hard, but she's still got quite nice defense stats. Crit expert gives me nightmares. yeah, true enough. True. Otherwise, I don't know really. I'd say it's kind of hard to build for her. Like, it's another character that needs very specifically built. Will you get it in time to utilize it well? You know, it's really difficult. Weapon building is really just such high levels of RNG. It can take you weeks to get one weapon that you need when you need 3 different weapons. So yeah. Sandy. I've already done Sandy. I did her first. Still undecided on Connor. Andrea, I build like I built Tyreese. Just all out attack. Probably double down on attack versus. Although with her, it might be slightly different. Like, you might need to build a little bit of crit if you want to utilize Rampage. I think if I went back to my old mods with Priya, I did Priya kind of like this. Whoops. I did Priya kind of like this. But the reason I did Priya like this was because she didn't need attack, because attack mods were not that great back then. So I did Priya like this with the stats. And then people were like, I remember people asking why I did that, and it's because attack only gave like 900 attack, but an area 1000 HP was really good. Or like, you know, whatever, 1000 attack versus 1000 HP. HP just made her survive better. She could survive reflect. She could survive maim damage. You know, she has better survivability. I don't think necessarily Andrea needs this. Percentage attack is so much more powerful, obviously. You can obviously see the boost just off the base, and this is her like level 1. But yeah, you might want to go with attack and then do attack versus traits you find to be an issue. Resist whatever you want. I think right now stun resist is generally the way to go, just because it's I mean, especially since Razo's come out as well. And then in the bottom left hand corner, you might want to go the attack while status effect. So attack while taunted, attack Connor first turn, try and get taunted, and then your second turn Rampage basic attack will be nuts. I used to have attack while impaired on Priya, but it will not work on her because she doesn't have a multi-hit rush, and obviously you can't rush if you're impaired. So simple as that. And like the resistance, like that. So attack while impaired is a no-go. So like that. And then the attack versus is kind of down to you, honestly. Connor. I'd probably do Connor how I did. I kind of would do it how I did Mercer. Probably lean more on HP. I imagine that's just a HP on HP, because he gets bonus HP based on taking a basic attack, right? Like, if you just attack him with anything, he gets bonus HP. So yeah, he needs a bit more HP, like 60% HP, 65% HP. He doesn't need attack because he has wait, actually, what does he have? I thought he had Berserker from him, but that's actually Mercer. Or does he have Berserker? He does. Okay, so he doesn't need attack because he has Berserker. So yeah, how I do Connor. Make him actually quite defensive. Defense versus. Maybe doubles resist. It's up to you. At the moment, like I said, I don't think there's too much of a problem with resists. Glenn, Andrea, Sandy, Rampage, Princess, Alice for attack team. Very offensive team. Alice, probably like Rick. Oops, probably like Rick. Just find the gap. Just find the gap, like on the trait. You might want to double down with damage versus alert. Just make her more support. You know. Advice on that team. I mean, if are Andrea, Sandy, and Princess all tier 5? If they're all tier 5, honestly, I'd kind of just make a decision which one you want to keep. I think you only need 2 of those guys. You can win raids turn 1 and turn 2 with 2 of those guys. I think you need a disarm, realistically. As much as I'm saying defense while disarmed is the way to go, not everyone uses it. And disarm is quite important, especially with multi-hit characters like Sandy. Like turn 2, you can have 3 people disarmed with Wayland. Disarm someone first turn, and then disarm someone else second turn with the signature move, and then you disarm another one with the actual signature move itself. Often I don't put any platinum characters. I mean, you should, because you shouldn't worry about the fact that you can remove a mod and it costs 1. It only costs 1 mod scrap now. So like you can't really make a mistake. I mean you can, but it's like easily repaired. Like I'll probably make a different video for this, but like generally you want to have a leader that does attack percentage. And generally, you want at least 3 of the characters in that attack team to have attack or offensive-minded builds. At least 3, and then 2 can be more support builds if you want. Like these teams, like I was doing raids earlier with these teams after I unmodded them, and I was just obliterating teams. You know, they hit extremely hard. They hit extremely hard. Extremely hard. Like right now, Michonne's really not that powerful. Just because she's not ready yet. She's not ready yet. But could you show your mods and weapon for Wayland, please? I'm not gonna. I mean, I'll show you, but I'm gonna be ending the video soon, and you can rewatch it. Basically, I talked about modding Wayland and why, and then the weapon I'm using right now is this weapon. But I would use a weapon more like this if I had another one. 1535, I think, is much more important for him. I used crit set on Sandy. Anyone who hits 4 times on their rush, crit set. Massive. The only people who you might want to use attack set on a rush on is like 2 hits. But even then. What's up, the Get Weirds? I'm pretty much going to be ending the stream now, though, guys. This was just me remodding my teams. And also just hopefully answering some questions. And then if I do get asked questions in the future, I will point them in the direction of this video. I will label the video as well. So if you do want to rewatch the stream, I will have different sections for each character. So you can see like, here I did Wayland, here I did this character, here I did this character. So you can see what I talked about with them. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good piece of cake. The only reason I think stun on attack is really good right now is just because there's such a lack of lack of control. Sorry, on attack teams. But I do like those sort of weapons. I do like those sort of weapons, especially with the multi-hits. And the fact that a signature move can utilize it as well. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, guys. We are gonna shut things down right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. She's gonna be nearly a level 1000. Nearly level 1000. Maybe this weekend, I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. If you do want to rewatch the stream, do give it you know, a relook. I will be labeling it. I'll try and label it tonight, but it might be on Monday. In terms of like which characters I looked at and when. But I'll be streaming War tomorrow, guys, from mid-afternoon. So in around about 18 to 20 hours, something like that. I'll be streaming War. And so yeah, happy Warren. Yeah, exactly. Happy Warren, Jack. You too. Take care, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving. Goodbye, goodbye. Hit the like button.